I feel like I've started off too many of these podcasts with well, that was a very winnable game that got just slipped through their fingers. But you know what? On Sunday, the Pirates had a series win. They had a winning road trip. They had a win slip through their fingers again. And you gotta look at the bullpen as one of the chief concerns with this team as they are trying to get into that competitive window. Good morning and welcome to OffBeat here on North Shore 9 presented by FanDuel. My name is Alex Stumpf. This is a daily look at your Pittsburgh Pirates who disappointed on Sunday. They I'm going to just paint a picture here for you real quick. Bubba Chandler has not had the smoothest of seasons. We've seen some stuff, but there's been control issues. There's been stuff, some of it out of his control, like the outfield defense behind him, but a lot of it in his control. He hasn't wowed yet so far. And he had a couple rough innings in the fourth and fifth, and he might have tweaked his knee a little bit. Like he didn't look, hurt. He finished the inning. But at 5 innings, with the little knee scare that he had in the bottom of the fifth, and the Pirates up 4-2, Don Kelly makes what I feel to be the right managerial choice, and he takes his rookie pitcher out. You pat him on the butt, you say, "You're in a good spot. We're in a good spot. You're in line for the win. Trust the bullpen to get this over the finish line." And the bullpen didn't. Immediately, they surrender 2 runs in the bottom of the sixth. Pirates build another 2-run lead in extra innings, and Yohan Ramirez is not able to hold that game out too. Pirates end up losing in 12 innings, and I have to look at this bullpen, especially the right-handers in this bullpen. Because if there is one person in this bullpen who has been outstanding, it's Gregory Soto. And probably the second best performer in this bullpen this year has been Mason Montgomery. Montgomery had a little bit of a shaky start, to the year, but ever since he has become a real solid part of this bullpen. And Gregory Soto, it's a timeshare for the closer job in the eighth and ninth, but you know what? He's gonna hang in there, probably pitch the ninth, or at the very least continue to hold at least a timeshare of that closer job right now. But then you look at what's going on right-handed. And Isaac Matson had a really good year last year. I'm seeing a lot more fly balls. I'm seeing a lot more fly balls that were approaching the warning track or getting over the wall or doubles than last year. But for the most part, he's still been solid. Dennis Santana is going through a slump right now. I really liked how he started the year. I think he can rectify a lot of these issues, but you have to look at what you have right now, and he is struggling. And Yohan Ramirez, who I wrote up a piece for Book Rule Bucks about everything that he was doing right this year, and boy, did we not see any of that this road trip. Justin Lawrence has had his issues, and then after that, you're looking at like the Cam Sanders, the Urquides, it's just not. There is two very clear tiers of this bullpen right now. And the tiers are, ironically, what hand do you throw with? And that's not what this Pirates team needs. They need a deeper bullpen because Don Kelly made the right managerial choice. Whenever you have a 2-run lead and your rookie starting pitcher is potentially hobbled a little bit and wasn't particularly sharp at that point, you go to the bullpen. You trust your middle relief to get there. I can't think of too many times, though, where the middle relief has come through for the Pirates. Going based off of Fangraph's win probability added, the Pirates are currently ninth. The Pirates bullpen is currently ninth at 1.16. Now you would think, okay, that's a slightly above average bullpen, or actually not even the slightly. That's an above average bullpen. What are you talking about here? Well, I'm going to go by minus win probability added. This is how often they left and it hurt the cause. And by that, it's negative 14.21. That's fifth worst in baseball, behind only the Nationals, the Angels, America's team, the White Sox, and the Athletics. Those are four really bad bullpens. Now, they're bailed out because the plus WPA, whenever they do make the good contribution, they're getting big contributions. That's whenever, like Gregory Soto and whenever Mason Montgomery's doing some stuff. And oh yeah, that game that Carmen Majinski had the opener, he counted as a reliever then too. I look at this bullpen as not helping enough. It's not deep enough. And internally, I don't see a lot of fixes because I don't want like Wilbur Dotel in the bullpen unless he's here, as a long relief. You just need the innings there. Like I'd prefer him as a starting pitcher, or at the very least, he's not a 1-2 inning guy. I don't see that. Prospect wise, I think Brandon Benoit is the best uh reliever prospect the Pirates have. He's going through it a little bit right now. He's hit a roadblock, a pretty good week this week, but had been struggling in the weeks prior. Ryan Harbin has apparently re-signed with the organization or is back with the organization after being designated for assignment. I'm high on him, but he suffered an injury that I don't think he's going to be pitching for the Pirates in 2026. Pirates felt similarly too. That's why they DFA'd him, and that's why no one else in baseball took a flyer on him. There's no answer there. At that point, you're getting to like Bo Burrows, who maybe, but I wouldn't count on him on being like a big change right here. Same with like a Carson Fulmer. Like those are minor league veterans that could make an impact, but I just don't really see it. It being a great impact. So you have to look at what you have internally. And I laid out why I don't think Jared Jones is going to be, at least not immediately, a huge part of the bullpen if the Pirates so chose to go down that road. If they did, I think it'd be like a Braxton Ashcraft deal last year where he's going to pitch, it's going to be very scheduled when he pitches. So you can't count on him. Maybe you could make an argument Carmen Majinski going into the bullpen whenever Jared Jones gets back. But as it stands right now, I don't see a lot of internal fixes for this bullpen. A bullpen that took another loss on Sunday. Going to throw it over to Cody here for a minute 24. We'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by IQ Bar, our exclusive snack hydration sponsor. IQ Bar protein bars, IQ Mix hydration mixes, and IQ Joe mushroom coffees are the delicious, low-sugar, brain and body fuel you need to win your day. The Ultimate Sampler Pack is a great way for you to try all IQ Bar products and flavors. You get 9 IQ bars, 8 IQ Mix sticks, and 4 IQ Joe sticks. All IQ Bar products are clean label certified and entirely free from gluten, dairy, soy, GMOs, and artificial ingredients. With over 20,000 5-star reviews and counting, more people than ever are fueling their lifestyles with IQ Bar's brain and body boosting bars, hydration mixes, and mushroom coffees. The Ultimate Sampler Pack includes all 3. My personal favorites so far have been the almond butter chip and the iced tea lemonade hydration mix. It's just really full of flavor. I love starting my day with it, and I couldn't imagine starting my day with anything else other than IQ Bar products. Right now, IQ Bar is offering our podcast listeners 20% off all IQ Bar products, including the Ultimate Sampler Pack, plus free shipping. To get your 20% off, text MLB to 64,000. That's MLB 64000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details.
I do think Dennis Santana is going to get things right. I saw a lot of good things out of Yohan Ramirez that I think, yeah, he can be part of a major league bullpen. And yeah, I look at Benoit and even those guys like Bo Burrows and Carson Fulmer, yeah, maybe their depth. But as it stands right now, the Pittsburgh Pirates bullpen has a 4.14 ERA, 17th in baseball. The starting rotation is potentially elite, but I have talked about these innings so often. And I will admit I've looked at it mostly through the macro lens of how is Braxton Ashcraft going to hold up after 150 innings? How is Bubba Chandler going to hold up after 150 innings? How is, all these guys. I need to look at it through a micro lens too, of those games where Bubba Chandler has a pitch count that he could go out for a sixth inning, but the stuff isn't there. He's maybe not feeling 100%. And why do you push him? There are days whenever these young starters are only going to be able to go 4 or 5 innings. That's part of being a young kid in the majors. It's an incredibly talented rotation. It has tremendous upside, but there are those risks that come along with just having such a young rotation. And innings is a big part of it. This team needs more middle relief, and I don't know if they can wait to the trade deadline to acquire it. That doesn't mean that, Ben needs to be calling up people today and saying, we got to acquire an eighth inning guy. I'm not saying that. And they are always going to be looking for opportunities, whether it's through the waiver wire or, whenever players opt out of deals. We're probably getting close to a couple waves of that. I imagine the middle of May is one that a lot of players have written into their contracts, if not the end of May. So there might be some opportunities externally, but I think this bullpen, it's been bullpen and defense that I've been harping on. Like, if this team does not make the postseason, that's why. And for such a potentially talented group, losing games like that, losing games like Sunday on a regular occurrence, like we have seen this year, it feels like it feels like it's almost a once a week type of deal, where there is a game that the Pirates probably should have won that they didn't end up winning. And the bullpen is often a culprit, either the full culprit or at least played a big supporting role in it. There's just not enough middle relief on this team. Gregory Soto, I can hear the arguments like, oh, maybe he's not, a true closer. But you know what? He's been pitching really well. And Dennis Santana, I think, will be able to get it right. And Mason Montgomery, what he has shown, especially as a two-up guy potentially, that's great. Isaac Matson, if he is your guy whenever you're down a run or, pitching the sixth inning, whenever you have a lead, you could do worse. But there's just not enough depth, not enough reliable depth in this bullpen group right now. And yeah, Paul Skeens and Mitch Keller are probably going to be able to hand the ball off to the bullpen in the seventh or eighth inning a whole lot. But you can't count on that with a lot of the young guys. You have to look at 5 and 6 is more of the expectation for a start, which means you're going to have to rely on an extra reliever or two. And the Pirates have not gotten consistent performance out of that reliever or two. And if they are not going to find someone internally who could take those jobs, they have to look external. And this isn't something I think can wait until August 3rd. There's a lot of baseball to be played. And if they are going to keep punting some games and letting some slip through the fingers, that adds up. That's the difference between making the playoffs or missing the postseason or being a wild card and winning a division. There's talent here, and yeah, Sunday was one of the more frustrating losses we have seen in a while, and there's been a couple this year. Thank you so much for listening to Offbeat here on North Shore 9, presented by FanDuel. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe wherever you find a fine podcast, or if you want to see my smiling face, check us out on YouTube for the video feed. Thank you so much for listening. We'll talk again tomorrow.
All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube, if you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucks.